Hey, he's Nikolas Motta, UFC Lightweight fighter, and you're in the Marcus Deegan Show.
The Marcus Deegan Show. Oh, yeah. What's the story, guys? Welcome to another episode of the podcast. It's Marcus Deegan yet again from Sin City, Las Vegas. We got the most miraculous, fantastic podcast in Las Vegas that we're shooting here today. We've got another UFC fighter on the show. I keep loving the fact that my studio is right next door to the Apex Center. You can literally jump over the wall and you can be here, so I get the opportunity to talk to all these absolute killers on the show. And we got another one, another Brazilian fighter. I always love talking to these guys. Would you please welcome to the show, UFC Lightweight, Nikolas Motta. What's up, my brother?
What's up, my brother? It's a pleasure to be here, and your podcast looks amazing, looks awesome.
Thanks, bud.
And I like you a lot too. And it's just like you say, that's why I moved to Vegas. The Apex is like 5 minutes from my house, and the UFC PI, and that's the life I want to have.
And I suppose, is your life just 100% fighting, either training, either nutrition, either sleeping, either sitting with your coach and working out techniques? Is that all your life is? Is that it? UFC training and that's it?
It is. Since I was 18 years old, I left home, and I want to be a professional fighter, and that's what I do. And it's crazy that I still have the same hunger that I have when I was younger, and I still live like that, and hopefully it's gonna pay off. It's already paying off because I'm in UFC, and I'm gonna make big things happen.
So what was it that made you actually say to yourself, I want to be a professional fighter? Was there one moment where you were just like playing video games, or somebody beat you up? Was there a specific moment that made you click and go, that's it, I'm doing this?
So at first I started training, and I don't know why I like it so much. And then when I started watching like the big promotions in Japan and the States, I just fell in love with fighting, and I started watching those big promotions, Pride FC in Japan, and that big show, and those guys like legends, and all those big screams and big crowds, and I just like, damn, that's what I want to do it.
And what's the biggest crowd that you've performed in front of?
The biggest part, in UFC, I didn't get the opportunity to fight with a crowd yet. I only fought. Like I did 2 fights on the Ultimate Fighter.
Yep.
in the small place. I did 1 fight in Dana White's Contender Series, and I had 3 fights in UFC, all at the Apex. I was supposed to fight in Miami on, I think it was UFC 287 in Miami, and the same thing that happens to Charles happened to myself. I was doing
You split your eye.
Yes. Really bad.
Now, was this going to be your debut fight that you were going into, and then you had to pull out? Was that the reason why you had to pull out when you first joined the UFC?
When I first joined UFC?
Yeah.
No, there was a different injury.
That was see, there we go, back to talking about injuries again.
Talk about that
so
before.
the cut on the eye, how did that happen?
So it was the same, because one of the fighters from Charles the Bronx team was at the PI, and I asked, what happened, brother? And he said, oh, he was doing wrestling, and he took the guy down, and the guy hit his head, and they both clashed heads, and there was the same thing that happened to me at Extreme Couture.
Yeah.
And it was like a real deep cut.
Yours was deep as well?
Oh, it was so deep.
Did you have a look at it? Was it bad?
It was bad, because I went to the PI at first, and then I went straight to Heather. You know Heather?
Heather Linden. She's amazing.
Yeah, she's
great.
She's great. She's the best. Then, and because also she has a friend that her friend is great on doing stitches, and Heather took a picture and Heather say, oh, you see that little white thing?
The bubbles, yeah.
No, it was like a little white thing.
That was your bone?
That she said that was my bone or something like that.
Fuck.
Then her friend had to do like, I don't know if it was 12 stitches, because she had to do it inside and outside.
Yeah.
So it was like, I think I had like 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks for the fight. And at first I was like, everyone was like, what's up, brother? What happened? Are you going to pull out the fight? I'm like, what the fuck? What are you guys talking about? Pull out the fight. What the fuck?
But you knew that you had to?
I didn't want to pull out the fight. I had worked so hard for that fight. Then
that's got to be worse than losing, right? Is it worse?
Yes, exactly. That's even when I was supposed to do my UFC debut, I could feel that. I feel like the feeling of having to pull out, at least to me, it hurts way more
think
than
so.
than going to fight and losing. It's way worse than losing. It's great that you say that because it's exactly how I felt, and I didn't want to felt. I never want to feel like that again.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I pull out my UFC debut, I remember myself sitting on the car and thinking like, fuck, I can't believe. But then my head coach now is Ray Seffel, and I had
Beast.
he's a beast,
Fucking beast.
a lot of experience, and I had my first UFC win was with Seffel, and it was great because it was more than just a relationship of like coach and fighter. He also became a good friend,
Yeah.
and like a guy that I look up to, like how they say, like a mentor too.
Yep.
Then
Kind of like another Jason House. Jason House is like that as well,
he's
right?
like that too.
Yep.
So Seth will say, brother, I was thinking about, and I think you shouldn't fight because anything that happened in the fight, that cut's gonna open. And if we knew that they don't stop fights because of cuts, okay, you could fight. But we know they can stop fights because of cuts. So I think he said, I think that doesn't work to go to a fight already with a disadvantage. Then I'm like, damn, Seth knows what he's talking about because he has so much fights. He also owns a promotion too. He sees so many things going on. And also my teammates like Brett Tavares said, bro, you should pull out. Then Chris Curtis said, you should pull out. And I look at Chris Curtis' face. He had
fucking eyes are fucked up.
All his face had stitches. And I'm like, probably Chris knows. So they are, right?
I suppose that's the beauty of being young, because what are you, only 30, 29?
30 now.
30, yeah, still young. The beauty of hanging around those guys that have been in the industry for a while, they get to give you wisdomly advice that you can take and that can be an advantage to you. So I suppose being around people like Chris Curtis and Sean Strickland and all those boys that you see in the gym, does that help you think, with your journey?
Oh, that helped so much with my journey, and I'm grateful, and I had a pleasure because when I turned 18, I used to fight kickbox. I fought some jiu-jitsu, but I thought that was boring. And if you see my fights, I always put in a show. And
you like to stand up. Like, I don't know what Bob was talking about before you were into jiu-jitsu. I was like, no, this guy fucking bangs. What are you talking about, Bob?
Yeah, I love to do that. I love to bang. And so when I turned 18, I want to be pro. And at first, I was like the same as Edson Barboza. His dream wasn't going to UFC. His dreams was to go into Japan and fighting K1.
That was yours too, right?
That was kind of mine too. And I thought about like I want to go to the Netherlands and fight in Amsterdam because the kickboxers used to make good money over there.
And plus, there's lots of other fun things that you can do in Amsterdam as well. I've been there 4 times.
I want to go that one.
I fucking love it, man. I love it. Shout out to Amsterdam in the Netherlands, by the way. Yeah.
So like I want to be pro, but I saw that people in Brazil, kickboxing wasn't a big thing, and people didn't care so much, and we didn't make money, and I thought like, so maybe it's better go to MMA. And you remember in the past, the biggest teams used to be in Rio or in Curitiba. That was south of Brazil. Because in South Brazil, Curitiba was the shoot box. They had all those guys, Anderson Silva, Vanderlei, Shogun. And in Rio was like Minotauro Nogueira and all those guys. But then I had a friend from kickboxing that I was almost going to Curitiba. But then one of my friends, there was a kickboxer too. I think someone of his family was related from Andre, from the owner of Nova União and one of the most legendary MMA coaches in history, because he was Jose Aldo he made Jose Aldo and Renan Barão and so many good guys. So I saw that my friend went there, and I said to my parents, oh, maybe instead of going to the south, Curitiba, because it was really far, maybe I go to Rio. And my parents immediately said, oh, that's cool because it's going to be a little bit closer to us, and I started look it up, Nova União in Sherdog, the team,
Yep.
and I was like, oh, like so many guys in UFC, Japan, and fighting all over the world in big promotions. And I'm like, that's the place I have to go. That's so fucking cool. And I started watching the guys fighting Japan in UFC, everywhere, all over the world. Then when I was 18, I moved to Rio to that team. And it's like you said, like it was so fast. Like I saw my every week. I felt like I was learning things that I would take me a year to learn, and not just about technique a lot, and also about weight cut, about
Just about life.
management, life, people from all over the world, not just people from all over Brazil, but I met a lot of people coming from all over the world to do camps over there. People from Russia, people from the States, Australia, Japan, and that gave me like a very strong base.
Yeah. And I mean, Brazilian fighters traditionally have been pretty successful in the UFC and in the world of mixed martial arts. Is there anyone from Brazil that you looked up to, maybe growing up, that kind of you've met today and gone, wow, I can't believe I just met this guy. He was a hero of mine growing up. Anybody like that?
So many, but
So many. That's good though,
but
right?
I think maybe the number one was Anderson Silva, because I remember when I was in my hometown, because I'm from a very small home, not like a small hometown, and I remember that I was like, I don't, maybe 13 years old, and I sent to a friend a picture of Anderson Silva, and I said, brother, I'm gonna train with this guy one day, and he's like, what are you talking about, bro? You from a small town? And he says something like saying like, have your feet in the ground, like you dreaming too much. Then when I was 21, I made to the Ultimate Fighter, and I was like one of the first guys that Anderson Silva picked for his team. And when Anderson was holding meets for me, I was like, damn.
Wow. Wow. See, that's just the power of manifestation and the power of thinking something that you wanted so bad that you kind of willed it into existence. Like, as you said, you were just this young dude from a small town telling your friends you're going to meet Anderson Silva one day. Their brain wasn't, they couldn't expand in their brain to even conceive that happening because they don't know how to manifest things. They don't know how to make things happen. Obviously, you have that skill. You know, you wanted to get into the UFC, you did it. You wanted to meet Anderson. You're doing all these things that you kind of have always wanted to do. So there's a great strength in that. So were your parents, are they very supportive of your career?
So my family, like my family that I grew up with, my dad, my mom, my aunt, they all like went to school, then went to college. My
So the normal, they did the normal shit.
yeah, normal shit.
Yeah, normal shit. Yeah.
My uncle was like a nerd, like lawyer. Then after was like he used to work for the federal government, like a super nerd.
Boring. Boring. Yeah.
Then he got crazy. He was like, brother, fighting is for people that don't have any options in life. That's men. Humans are not supposed to get hit in the head. Stuff like that.
Yeah. Look at Joanna Zenjedric that day. Remember Joanna? When she
Oh yeah.
fucking,
yeah.
she looked like something from outer space.
Yeah.
Definitely. What's the worst injury that you've had to suffer during your career? Apart from the cut eye, anything like knees or wrists or shoulders or anything that's really...
No.
That's
no,
good though.
that's
So just
good, yeah.
superficial injuries?
Yeah, just superficial.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like a sore finger or...
I never had a surgery. No.
Oh, you're still young, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, that's good. And I suppose being a fighter, we were talking about this before, you guys go through, you're always sore somewhere, whether it's your knee or your ankle or your back or whatever. Being a fighter, I suppose because you're training all the time, so you're doing what you do for a living in training. You're hitting, you're getting hit. So you're probably always sore everywhere, and you probably have a higher tolerance to pain than most people. When you watch something like the bare knuckle fighting, the bare knuckle boxing, is that something that you like? Do you enjoy watching it? And do you ever think about, I could do that. I could do that.
Yeah. Especially, I'm friends with Eddie Alvarez, and he told me how much he was getting paid. I was like, man, for sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And I have a friend, Mark Interberg, from he did an internship. When I moved, he was one of the reasons that I moved to Vegas first, because he was living in Vegas and because he was doing like a internship
Yep.
at the UFCPI, and he said, bro, if you want to crash the couch in my apartment, I stay in Vegas, you can come. Then at the moment I was living in Colorado, and I say, all right. And I always dreamed about living in Vegas because the first time I came to America was to do the Ultimate Fighter
And
show.
you came straight to
and
Vegas.
I came same to Vegas.
So it was familiar to you a little bit.
Was like a dream to live in Vegas because I love that place. But at the same time, when you go to Tough, it's almost like
You're in a bubble. You can't really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost you look like in jail.
Yeah.
Because at first they put us at the police station, and they put each one of us in a room, and they take our phones, and you stay in the room, and you cannot leave because they say if you leave the room without permission, they're gonna take.
So what were you doing? The same thing that all 30-year-olds do when they're locked alone in a hotel room. Oh, yeah. I didn't know they went that far. That's interesting. And then, so that was a good experience, The Ultimate Fighter?
At the same time that it is a good experience,
Yeah.
it makes you go crazy a little bit. And I remember when I was in Rio before the Ultimate Fighter, I had a friend and that we used to be roommates, Leonardo Santos. He's a legend in Jiu-Jitsu, and he won the Ultimate Fighter Brazil show season, the season before the one I did. And I was, brother, like, how it is over there? Because I know there is a mansion, everything's free. And I'm like, oh, bro, tell me how it is. And he said, that's a fucking asylum. That's how I say the place that crazy people lives.
Yeah. Asylum.
I'm like,
Asylum.
asylum.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy is complaining for no reason.
Yeah.
But then in the middle of the season, I look someone, I'm like, damn, he was right.
Yeah, he was right.
Because some guy made me like, because some guy, he was acting like, when cameras are around, people change.
Yeah.
And I look at that guy, I want to punch him in the face. And I'm like, oh, my friend was right.
Yeah.
I'm losing my mind.
Fuck. So, just circling back to Eddie Alvarez, he's a buddy of yours. I see that him and Mike Perry are now going to have a fight.
Be amazing.
I mean, the last time that I watched Eddie Alvarez and Chad Mendez, right, there was a really good fight. They were doing the bare knuckle boxing. And Conor was there, McGregor. Conor was yelling instructions to Eddie Alvarez. And then Eddie Alvarez did what Conor said, landed the punch, and then looked at Conor as if to say, thank you so much. That was awesome. It's such an exciting sport, right?
That's awesome, yeah. And it's cool that, like, that Eddie says, like, he don't have bad feelings for Conor and...
No.
Yeah.
No, of course. Well, I mean, do you have bad feelings for your opponent after you fight them? Or is it more connected, sort of?
Yeah, you're right. More connected, yes.
Yeah, people don't realize the spiritual side of fighting. You know what I mean? Like, they just think it's physical. They don't realize that there's a spirituality to fighting as well. And it's because, I mean, from what I learned when I finally got into a boxing ring, until you stand in front of another man that wants to put you away and you want to put him away, it's a different feeling than just watching it on TV or, reading about it online. It's completely different. That's why I kind of laugh at a lot of these trolls on the internet, Instagram trolls and all these trolls that like to do a lot of this to the fighters. It's purely out of inexperience, right? They don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
They have no idea what they're talking about.
It'd be good. We should do like a competition of the trolls. Pick out the biggest fuckheads, get their comments, and then throw them into a 4-week camp and see if they can do it. Grab fucking 20 trolls off the internet. There you go. There's a reality show. Let's get 20 trolls off the internet, bring them to Las Vegas, and put them through a full fight camp to see if that's something that I guarantee you they would never, ever troll again, would they?
No.
Fuck, people would watch that. And then they get the UFC fighters that they trolled to come in and beat the fuck out of them. Yeah, man. Do you have a lot of problem with haters and trolls, or is that something that you battle with? Because I know a lot of people do.
When I see those comments, I just block the person or
Yeah.
delete. Or maybe, like, if they say something like some guy said, oh, I bet on you. I bet on you because I lost to Jim Miller on my UFC debut.
Yeah, but Jim Miller's
he's
no
the guy-
fucking joke,
He
man.
has the record of most wins and most fights in the division.
That's what I'm saying. And
it wasn't my debut, but then
who was the matchmaker for that fight? Fuck.
But you know what happened? I think it's because the last guy who beat Jim Miller, after I fought Jim Miller, the last guy who had beat him was Joe Solecki, and when I fought Solecki, I beat Solecki.
So is it hard for you to watch that video of you and Jim Miller? Do you ever watch it back?
Not I think when I was younger, I would have problems with that. Not anymore.
Yeah, you get over it with your fight maturity.
I'm more mature,
Yeah.
And other guy that had beat Jim Miller that was during COVID was Vince Pichel. Vince from Hell Pichel, one of my best friends. You know?
Oh, really?
I love
Yeah.
him.
Oh, right. So
He's a crazy guy, but he's very smart too, and he's a good fight. He's been in UFC for like 11 years.
yeah. When was the last time he fought?
He fought the guy from Denmark, the Olympic wrestler.
It's so hard, you know. There's so many athletes in the UFC now. Was it like 700?
Yeah.
700 on the roster. It's
Yeah.
hard to remember everybody's
700.
name and weight class and where they're from.
No, but so what I was talking about the troll.
Oh, yeah, the trolls. That's right. That's
so
right.
the guy was like, brother, when I bet on you, you lose to a 37 years old guy, and when I bet against you, you won first round knockout. And I say, sorry, brother, it's because the other fight I was with your mom the night before.
And it gave you some power.
I think the best answer for the trolls is say
Something about their mother.
Yeah, something about their mother.
They do a lot of mother jokes in Brazil. We do a lot of mother jokes in Australia.
I think we do in Brazil too.
We do a lot of it in Australia. So do your family come out here? Do you get to see them much?
I go there sometimes. I used to go for Christmas because it was something like that me and my family always would be like always together for Christmas. And they want to come sometimes. They already have their visas now. They're going to come to visit.
Yeah. How do you find the heat here in Vegas? The heat in the summer?
The heat in the summer, oh, it's crazy.
Brutal, right?
Yeah, brutal.
Yeah. You got to be conditioned to live here in Las Vegas.
But it's crazy because not too long ago, I went to Florida because I'm friends with Rashad Evans. We became friends when he came when I used to live in Jersey. He was doing the camp there. Then after I got signed with UFC, he always said, "Oh, come stay in my house and we train, hang out." Then
he's a legend too.
He's a legend.
Another crazy bastard.
It's crazy that a lot of guys that used to be my idols
are now your mates.
Now my mates.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. Yeah, that is unbelievable.
Then,
it's like, it's great when you meet. Like when I hung out with MJ, that was something that he was my idol growing up, and get to be there with him in person. I couldn't fucking believe it, man.
Oh, he was so good.
He was the best. So we got are you into technology? Like, are you a big tech man?
Yeah, I always used it to be.
You use AI at all?
Oh, no, I didn't use that. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the next part of the show, what we call Ask AI. I did this segment the other day and it went pretty well. So this is a segment that I just found out. Like back in the day, doing a podcasting job like I do, you would have to have lots of notes written down to ask your fighter and just to study. Now, AI is instant questions. So we're going to test it out right now. Okay. I need 10 funny questions to ask Brazilian UFC fighter Nikolas Motta.
That's interesting.
All right. Now look, this is how quickly they're putting together the questions. And there we go. Questions done. Now, there's all the questions that they just wrote out. So let's
If Sarah Connor from the Terminator sound.
All right. Okay, so here we go. So here's the questions. If you had to fight in a onesie...
Wait, onesie? What's that?
It's like... It's pajamas, the legs, but then it goes into the arm and
okay.
a onesie. Okay. If you had to fight in a onesie, okay. Okay, no, that's wrong. All right. Question number 1. Have you ever punched yourself during a fight?
No, never.
Question number 2. If you could have any superpower while fighting, what would it be?
Superpower when I'm fighting. Be untouchable.
Be untouchable. There you go. Okay. What would your outrageous gimmick be? That's stupid. Have you ever had an outside fan pick on you?
Yes. They're like the internet trolls.
Okay, I'm not really happy with these questions, AI. If you could pick your own signature move, what would it be? What is your signature move?
Like the ones that I have.
Yeah. You have something that you specifically do that works every time?
I have a lot of left hook knockouts.
I love that. Okay. Right. If you could walk out to a walkout song if you could walk out to any walkout song before a fight, what would it be and why?
Any walkout song? There is so many. There is a lot of guys that they have the specific walkout song. They always repeat
Every time they go.
But every time I change.
Oh, you change it.
I change every time I change.
So what kind of music? Hey, by the way, hang on. AI, your questions sucked. Mine are way, way better. See, the human interaction is way better.
Yeah.
What kind of music? Hip hop?
I like rap. I like rock.
Yeah.
So, like I was telling you before, that I'm from the same place that Glover is from.
Yeah.
That is more like, because my state in Brazil is kind of like Texas style, the food and country style. And a lot of people from my state, they love America and they move to America to work here. And but I never liked country music. I always liked rap and rock.
Yeah.
And lately I've been listening a lot of like rock from the 60s. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm the same. I like all that old style rock as well from the 50s and the 60s.
Yeah, probably we have different phases in your life.
Yeah, you do.
Before
for sure.
I like to listen a lot of rap, and lately I've been liking to listen a lot of rock from the 60s. I like Black Sabbath.
Of course, Ozzy Osbourne. Yeah. I like Kiss.
Kiss, I don't know Kiss too much.
You never got into Kiss? They're huge in Brazil.
Really?
Oh, Kiss are massive in Brazil. So who do you live with out here? Do you have a wife? You got kids?
No, I'm single. Yeah.
Single?
Yeah.
Yeah. No girlfriends?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. So no kids though? No kids?
No kids.
So
yeah.
who are you
I
out
think
here with? Just by yourself?
It's not time yet.
No,
yeah.
you're too young. Yeah, it's still too young. Still got another 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
So you live out here by yourself?
I have roommates. I have roommates, and hopefully I wanna get some wins, get a bonus of the night, then I can get my own house.
Yeah. So when are you stepping back in there? I believe it's November.
November 18.
Can we talk about your opponent?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Is he a jiu-jitsu specialist?
He's a jiu-jitsu specialist, and when I look at his record, he has a lot of wins by submission. And yeah, I think his main strength is jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
Yeah. But you plan on getting that left hook knockout? Your specialty, the signature.
I'm ready for everything. I've been working a lot my jiu-jitsu with Jake Shields.
Yep.
He's one of
with
the
Jake
best.
Shields, yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's amazing.
At Extreme Couture, we have a lot of great wrestlers. My striking, my head coach is Ray Seffo. And Extreme is like, it's my home now.
Yeah.
We have so much good quality training, so I'm ready for everything.
Yeah.
But just like everyone knows, like, most of my fights, my knockout ratio is big, and
Yep.
I have a lot of first round knockouts.
Yep.
When I won my first UFC fight, they came and they say, "Brother, how you feel? You have now 7 first round knockouts." And I'm like, "Oh, I didn't knew that I had so many first round. I know that I have a lot of knockouts on my record, but not all first rounds." And it's because I like to put on a show. I wanna I wanna make money and always put on a show. And like what I thought it since I was started, like I don't wanna be just another fighter that like just someone watching like, oh okay. I wanna be a guy that everyone's be like, oh shit.
Yeah. Well, with 7 first-round knockouts, you're becoming that guy for sure. So when do you go into camp? Are you in camp now?
Yeah, I'm in camp. I'm 4 weeks out, so I'm ready to go. Now I just gotta get skinny and make weight.
So your camp's for 6 weeks?
8 weeks.
8 weeks.
Eight,
Now,
eight
are they
weeks.
all 8 weeks or 6 weeks?
Sometimes they gave me like 3 months. When I fought on contender, it was only 20 days. But now usually they give me a good time. But usually a fight camp should be 8 weeks.
Yep. Yep.
So 2 months.
Is Eric Nixick down there does a great job of Extreme Couture. I love going down there and seeing everybody. So you've got 4 weeks left. So when do you spar, and how full on are your spars when you're doing that, getting into training? Do you do a lot of sparring?
I've been doing a lot of sparring. I've been doing sparring Tuesday and Thursdays and Saturday. Like Tuesday and Thursdays MMA sparring and Saturdays, Coach Ray Seffel, he has like we have some boxing sparring. And now that I'm getting close to the fight, Saturdays instead of doing sparring, I'm doing what's called sickles. It's a sickles circuit. That is something that makes your endurance and your cardio go like really high.
Really?
Yeah,
I've never heard that before.
it's to try to get to the maximum like.
Yeah.
ma-
So you get your maximum cardio ability out of these workouts.
yes, and we
How
do
is your
like
cardio?
it's great.
Is
Yeah,
it?
because I work hard. I'm always
Mm.
training, and like you asked me in the beginning, like that's how you do, and that's how I do, and how I dedicate,
Yeah.
how I'm dedicated off. And when I have a fight, I don't fuck around.
Do you watch the
We can
UFC?
party after the fight.
Yeah, yeah. Fuck yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Do you watch the UFC when you're not fighting? You always watch every card?
No, I don't watch every card,
No.
and sometimes I don't like to go too much too. I just like to watch more if I have a friend
Yeah.
fighting,
Yeah.
or some fight that I really want to watch, and I don't want to go to watch a fight. Like I feel like if it's not me fighting,
Yeah,
like
you don't give a shit. It's work, right?
yeah,
It's work?
yeah.
Yeah.
But I always, since I was young and I started training, I always like to watch a lot of videos and study, and I still do sometimes. Like I'm on the iodine bike warming up. I'm watching fights and
Yeah.
always trying to study, and I try to study the specific styles that I like, and I watch my opponent.
Yeah, that was my
too.
next question. You watch your
Yes,
opponent's
I
fights?
watch my opponent fights too.
I'd be obsessive with that. Like, if I was a professional fighter, I think I'd be watching every single video I could find of my opponent. Because, I don't know, I would just obsess, I think.
Yes, I did that before too, and especially like I did that when I fought Jim Miller, and like an example, I saw that he always had like he is a southpaw and he always had a good left hand, and he had some knockouts and dropped some guys with his front left hand, and always his backhand. I never saw him throw that, and that's the one that he caught me because he was just focused on the moment. And in the first round, I like catch him with a straight cross, and I think he saw that when I was showing the straight cross, my my left hand was dropping a little bit, so he found the moment when I threw the right and I dropped this and throw the arm that I thought that he wasn't supposed to throw, because every morning I was like eating breakfast and watching Jimmy, because I was like, okay, Jimmy Miller, he has a lot of UFC fights, but that gives me more tape to study.
Yeah.
So it was like every day study, and he did something totally different, and that's why, because he wasn't thinking about like what I do, but he was just focused on the moment and what's he was like in the present moment and seeing everything that was going on. So he studied the guy is good, but You gotta be like in the moment.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard that. Some people study their opponent and some others don't.
Yeah, some people doesn't even stud.
I suppose it's different. Everyone has their own different training techniques, I suppose. What's your favorite part of being in the UFC, and then which part do you dislike the most?
Let me see. Oh, that's a hard question. To me, in Vegas is the PI. The PI is great. They give us so much
Great food.
food, strength and conditioning, and physical therapy, and they have nutrition team and supplements, recovery.
What about the psychological therapy? Have you had any
Oh,
of that?
they also have a sports psychologist.
Do you talk to them at all?
I go. I talk. His name is Micah. He used to be a baseball player, and he played on the big league. He played for the big league, so he knows like
Yeah.
how it is to compete in the highest level.
Yep. Yep. Wow, that's awesome. And what is his job? Just to make sure you're okay? Like, I was really blown away when I found out they had a sports psychologist.
I feel that is about like to understand ourselves better, and like sometimes like we make some mistakes. Like in my case, sometimes I make some mistakes with my diet. So sometimes it's not like it's about like stress management.
Right, right.
So like I sometimes I feel like then when we talk with a psychologist, you can like it's almost like you looking and knowing yourself better and trying to figure it out. Oh, what I can do to improve myself in this and in that or that area. And I felt that helping me a lot w- in my life in general and also at fighting, because I remember in my in my first UFC win, I was so focused and calm and in the present moment, and was part was the work I did with Micah and also
Wow.
Sefo, because Sefo,
Wow. He's great to talk to as well.
yeah, he's great to talk to. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. So it's, once again, I suppose something else that a lot of people don't think about is the mental side of fighting. Your brain
Oh.
has to be actually more improved than your body. Would you agree with that? Your brain has to be better than your body
I think it's the most important. Yes.
because, once again, obviously manifestation, but you got to have a mind like a steel trap when you're a fighter, because it's just such a completely different occupation to what everybody else in the world does. What are you guys, like the 1%ers? You have to be
Yes.
1%.
Yes. Especially the life I choose to myself, and I moved to a different state by myself. I moved to a different country by myself. So to me, it's even more challenges.
Yeah, the immigrant mindset is very strong, my brother.
Oh, you're right.
It's
Yes.
very
Yes.
strong, the immigrant mindset. And I'm an immigrant, what I mean? I came here to another country as well. So I know what you mean. And I actually, you know what? I was 31 when I came to Vegas, and now I'm 53.
Wow.
And I'm still here, damn it! So this weekend we got some good fights on. Alexander Volkanovski. I mean, this is going to come out after that, but Alexander Volkanovski. Don't say that when you're drunk. Against Islam Makhachev. What's your thoughts on that? And are you an Islam fan or a Volkanovski fan?
I'm a Volkanovski fan. I love the way he fights. I love his attitude, and I don't know too many Australians, but if that's how you guys are, that's awesome.
Yeah, we're fucking crazy. And then, of course, Hamza Chimaev coming in against Kamaru Usman. Another short notice fight as well. What do you think that's... do you need a full camp, or can you go in there on 12 days and shock the world?
That's really hard, right?
Right.
Because we're talking about just like when you get. I remember when I used to train with Edson Barboza, and I was in UFC. He was, and he told me like, brother, when the guy gets to the ranking, it's a different level,
Yeah.
and that's the championship. It's even more, but that's crazy. Those guys are beasts. They are in a different level, and the mindset of them, especially Volkanov, is crazy.
Yeah. I was saying to you earlier on, I liked what he said, how he said, yeah, I'll come in on 12 days notice. not many people
What
would
a
do that.
savage.
Islam wouldn't do that. So fair play to him. I mean, had a lot of weight to cut, made weight today, looked very, very thin. But, I mean, of course, he'll rehydrate. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to that card. And then Johnny Walker.
Johnny Walker, he's fighting on the card?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yep.
really cool.
You like him?
Yeah, I like him. Yeah.
He's a big tall.
I don't know him personally much, but
You know Michelle Pereira?
yeah, I know Michelle better.
He trains down at
because
Extreme Couture,
he's
yeah.
training here now, yeah.
When I first interviewed Michelle, he didn't speak any English. No English at all. So I had to bring Johnny Walker in to interpret our interview. So Johnny sat there, I would ask a question, Johnny would interpret it in Portuguese, and so it was, but great guys, I loved it. So man, what's your message? Do you have a message to people?
A message to people? I don't think so.
You know, no messages? Anything that you want to plug? Do you have any sponsorships or anyone that you want to plug?
Sponsorships. Now I have a stem cells sponsorship. Their name is BioRx. They do stem cells. Also, they have CBD. I have a friend that has a store in New Jersey too. Vape Beast, New Jersey. He has like weed products and like oil and CBD and THC, and yeah.
You like cannabis?
It's just not my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I do. I don't drink. I don't take drugs.
Yeah, it's natural, right?
Yeah. I just like to smoke weed. It kind of calms I have a lot of energy that I need to compress sometimes. People think I'm on Adderall or fucking crystal meth or something, but I'm not. Well, hey, brother, thank you so much for coming on today. I always like to have a little chat, and I've seen your Instagram. I've followed you for a while, and, of course, you're a part of the Iridium team, and I love Ed Cap and Jason House and fucking all those boys over at Extreme Couture. It's just like a family, you guys, so it's always good to have you boys come on and have a chat. So I appreciate you coming on today, man.
Appreciate too. That was awesome.
Yeah, nice little chat on a Friday night. What are you going to go out and party
my
now?
new Australia friend.
Yeah, that's it.
My second now because I have Gavin, my strength and conditioning.
Yep, and now you know me.
Yeah,
we're going to go out drinking and banging bitches after this.
Yeah, I want to go to Australia. I want to go to Australia. Before I booked it, before the fight got booked, I had a flight to go to Phuket for the first time.
To Phuket in Thailand?
Yeah, and
bro.
I know that is like super close to Australia.
It's right there. It's like 4 hours on the plane, I think. It's very, very close. You got to go to Phuket, bro. You'd love it.
You guys from Australia are cool.
Yeah, they're fucking nuts, aren't they? They're crazy. The Irish and the Australians and the Mexicans and the Brazilians, we all get along like brothers. Well, thanks very much for coming on today, man. Hey, guys, today's episode was brought to you and sponsored by Riz Farmer. Time to harden up, if you know what I mean. Charge! RizFarmer.com. This is Marcus Deegan for the Marcus Deegan Show. Thank you so much, brother. We're out!